Set the starting grid for you. 22 cars slated to go. Craig Hooley with the 98, the 32D of Ron DeLeese. Going to be row 1. Brandon Jacobson with the 12 and the number 1 of Scott Bennett Jr. Going to be row 2. Row 3, it'll be the 23C of Tom D'Angelo along with Yule Cook in the 14. Back in row 4, it'll be the 09 of Shane Larman and Tyler Rapp with the 2A. 5 rows deep, it'll be the 17G of Garrett Poland. Travis Whitbeck with the 405 will flank him in that 5th row. 6 rows deep, we'll find the 1G of Kevin Groff and Bryce Brialt with the 2B car. Then the 89 of Dylan Madsen and Troy Ziles with the 14Z. That's row 7. Row 8, it'll be the 92 of John Kuhn and Chris Bisson with the 435. Row number 9, we find John Santolin with the number 6 car. He's on the inside. Taylor Wasson with the 07W on the outside. Then in row number 10, it's the 18 of Jared Powell and David Zelker with the 316 slated to go there. The 109 of Joe Smith and Bill August with the number 50 slated to round out your field. That is your 22 scheduled starters. 20 laps is the distance. So field is set. Looks like they are about ready to go green. I'm going to hand it back over to Mike Warren. This is your Hahn Welding Limited Sportsman feature event.
Well, thank you, Dan. Craig Hooley and Ron DeLeese Jr. going to bring the field down into turn number 3 and 4. Limited Sportsman feature underway. Green flag is out on the speedway. And a good jump by Ron DeLeese Jr. looking to take that momentum from the dash and put it into victory lane. As cars scattering up to the top side early, that's Yule Cook. He'll lose a number of positions. They're 3 wide, a little bit of contact as the field shuffles down the back stretch for the first time. They'll go through almost about 4 wide. Garrett Poland going to make a move to the inside lane. He'll sneak by Cook for that position. Cook will gather it back up, though, and work his way up into turn number 1 and 2. Goes right back up to the top side. Almost loses it again, it looks like, through the middle of the corner. Field's going to work down the back straightaway. As keep an eye on as cars try to move their way up through the field. Shane Larman, Dylan Madsen in there. Travis Whitbeck, last week's winner, going to try to make this way up on the outside lane as well as we put 2 laps in the books. Cars scatter as they go up through the corner. Here's the 14 machine of Cook trying to make a bid. We'll move up a little bit further through the field. Got a good battle going on from second on back. Scott Bennett Jr. going to make the move around the outside lane. He'll be your new second place man as he goes around the 98 machine of Craig Hooley. Tommy D'Angelo going to work up on the top side as well as he tries to go around the 12 machine of Jacobson down the back straightaway. Good battle spots 2 through 6 as they work down into turn number 3 and 4 once again. Bennett going to feel pressure from the 98 of Hooley, but Bennett just a little bit better on exit at corner number 4 as we approach the 1/4 mark of this feature event. As this race happens, all Ron DeLeese out in front, but Hooley trying to get that number 2 spot as you're watching the battle for that right now. Here's Shane Larman working back down to the inside lane as Hooley gets by the 1 machine of Bennett coming back down the front stretch. Bennett going to try to dial it back up on the top as they go down into turn number 1 and 2 once again. Hooley that time a little bit better with the momentum, but now Tommy D'Angelo going to enter the fray as he's going to make it a 3-car battle for the number 2 spot. They'll go down into turn number 3 and 4. Here's Hooley going to bring it off the corner. Bennett got a great run that time coming down the outside. Bennett looking for that number 2 spot, rolling back up on the top. That's been his bread and butter the entire time. Jacobson now going to make a bid for the number 4 spot on D'Angelo as they go down into turn number 3 and 4. Some great side-by-side battles through the first half of this limited sportsman feature event. And you take a look up into turn number 1 and 2 right now. Hooley keeping it locked on the bottom. Some good racing room everywhere for these Hahn Welding limited sportsmen. Hooley holding on to second. Bennett that time in third. Here's D'Angelo. He'll switch lanes and go to the bottom. That time they'll on exit. Bennett going to switch behind him. And now Shane Larman going to crack the top line for the first time as he gets by Jacobson. So it's DeLeese, Hooley, Bennett, D'Angelo, and Larman, your top 5 as we approach the halfway point of this feature. Down into turn number 3 and 4 they go. Here's D'Angelo to the inside of Bennett looking to make it stick, but that time the 1 machine shuts down the lane. As that happens, Shane Larman continues to work the top side to try to get a little bit closer to the number 23 of Tommy D'Angelo. Halfway sign going to come out this time by 10 laps are in, 10 remain as Ron DeLeese Jr. continues to lead this one. But the battle for spots 2 through 6 continuing as now Jacobson going to pull back into the inside to try to get by Larman and crack the top 5 again. Field going to work its way up off of turn number 2. As now Bennett and D'Angelo side by side for position down off of turn number 3 and 4. That time D'Angelo going to look to take the number 3 spot. He'll drive right around the one machine of Bennett. And now move on to a podium position. Contact for a split second as Bennett slipped up to the top side. Larman going to cross back over. He'll go back down. Contact on the back bumper. Contact with the one machine as they head down into 3 and 4. Larman trying to get by for the number 4 spot, but it allowed the 12 machine to sneak into that position of Jacobson. He now sits in behind Tommy D'Angelo. Battle for 5th continuing behind them as there's the 09 Larman trying to make a bid on the number 1 of Bennett down the back straightaway. Larman to the inside lane, going to try to make the move. Bennett going to take the lane right away and drive right up through the middle. Meanwhile, battle for the runner-up spot going to take shape as Tommy D'Angelo continues to ride up on the top side. He's going to make the move for the position as Hooley holds on down the back straightaway. They'll head down into turn number 3 and 4. Jacobson going to slide in, looking for spot number 3. Great battle for spots 2 through 4 now as they come off of turn number 4 once again. 6 laps left to go in this Hon Welding Limited Sportsman Feature event. Next time by when Ron DeLeese comes by. And by the way, he's checked out on the field and has caught lap traffic. Comes by just 5 laps left to go for the 32 of DeLeese. You see DeLeese now in slower traffic. He's going to move to the inside of John Stanley as they work up off the corner. They'll head down the back straightaway as DeLeese continues to lead this one. He's in the tight with a couple of cars. Try to get around Garrett Pullen and the 109 of Joe Smith as he leads this one now with just 4 laps left to go. So while that great battle's going on for second on back, DeLeese is just pulled away from the rest of the field and looking to go wire to wire. DeLeese down into turn number 3 and 4. As we go back to the battle for the number 2 spot, D'Angelo has cleared the 98 of Craig Hooley, but I think he's going to need a little bit of yellow luck to come on and win for a chance to win this feature event as he sits in that number 2 spot. Here's Larman going to make a bid on Jacobson for position. Bryce Brialt almost back into the top 5 as this battle continues here with now just 2 laps to go next time they hit the flag stand. Tommy D'Angelo into second, but he's got a long way to go and a short time to get there to catch the number 32 machine as they roll up through turn number 1 and 2 once again. When DeLeese hits the flag this time by, it'll be the white flag out. Just 1 lap left to go as the field works down the back straightaway. DeLeese up into turn number 1 and 2 for the final time in that number 32D machine. He won the dash a little bit earlier tonight, and he's going to look to carry that momentum and pick up a huge victory. Final time off by turn number 4. Ron DeLeese Jr. going to win the Limited Sportsman Feature event. Coming across the line second will be D'Angelo. Third will be Hooley. Fourth at the line. Looks like it's going to be Briel. And rounding out your top 5 is Jacobson. We'll take one last look at the top 5 as it pops up on your screen here in a second. But Ron DeLeese Jr. picking up the win, wire to wire.
So DeLeese capping off a great evening, pocketing the $200. There's your top 10 finishers. Ron DeLeese Jr., Tony D'Angelo finishing second. Craig Hooley with a great finish, finishing in 3rd spot. Big Bill August in 4th. Brendan Jacobson rounding out your top 5. Bryce Briel, Shane Larman, Ewell Cook, Travis Whitbeck, and Tyler Rapp rounding out your top 10 finishers here in tonight's Hon Welding Limited Sportsman Feature event. So Ron DeLeese rolling down here into victory lane. Going to be his second time he is saw checkers first tonight, as we said. Service Truck Tire Center. $200 to the winner of the dash earlier, and now picking up the win in the Hon Welding Limited Sportsman Division. The Mac Sun Industrial Services sponsored number 32. A&A equipment also on that automobile. Ron getting unbuckled down there in the car. Next event up will be our headline event, the Upstate GMC Modified Feature event, next on tap. As Ron DeLeese Jr. getting the safety equipment off. There he is, making his way out of the automobile. Ron going to make his way around this side of the car and get a few words with Mike Warren. We'll send it down trackside to Mike.
Well, thank you, Dan. And Ron, that is what we call the clean sweep of the night. What a drive from the very start of hot laps all the way to the feature event, and this car was on rails right from the get-go.
I'll tell you what, Gary Van Alstyne, after this car was wrecked about 4 weeks ago on the front stretch here, worked his butt off to get this thing back together. We had to run the backup car for a couple weeks. I got to thank him, his brother Larry. I got to especially thank my wife, who supports me 100%, my daughter Alicia, who works on the cars all week with me, Jack, Wayne in the pits, Wayne's brother, my brother-in-law Tim, and I got to thank Max Sun Industrial, A&A Supply, and Timberline Bakery and Cafe.
All right, Ron, congratulations. Ron DeLeese picking up the win in the limited sportsman feature event as the modifieds make their way up onto the speedway next to the lineup in the call. We'll send it back up top to Dan.
So as Ron DeLeese celebrates down there in Victory Lane, we're going to roll the modifieds up onto the raceway. We got 32 cars slated to go in our feature event here tonight for the Mighty